The search for MH370 has come to an end. The BBC reports that the latest search for MH370, conducted by a private company, Texas-based Ocean Infinity, is now coming to an end. MH370 mysteriously disappeared 4 years ago while it was flying from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. The BBC reports that it is still unclear what actually happened to the flight. Officials ended their search efforts last year as there was only limited information about its last hours. However, there are some people who are opposed to ending the search. The Guardian reports that Grace Nathan said her mother was on MH370 and noted that it is important for people to remember that MH370 is not history. The BBC reports that a report into the plane's mysterious disappearance will be published sometime in the future. The BBC also reports that Australia, China, and Malaysia have agreed to resume an official search only if credible evidence is found. Other plane stories.
United Airlines starts longest non-stop flight from the U.S. United Airlines is known for its friendly customer service and has a reputation for always putting its passengers first. Now you can experience that first-rate service from LA all the way to Singapore. United Airlines has launched the longest non-stop flight from the U.S. from its Los Angeles hub to Singapore. The 14,000-kilometer trip takes 17 hours, 55 minutes to Singapore, and 15 hours, 15 minutes on the return trip. The flight will operate once a day on a Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner with 252 seats combined in economy, economy plus, and business. The world's two longest routes belong to Qatar Airways' Doha-Auckland route at 14,536 kilometers and Emirates' Dubai-Auckland route at 14,193 kilometers. In terms of scheduled flying time, though, the new United route will be the longest due to the strong headwinds on the westbound portion of the flight. And for an added bonus, passengers can rest easy knowing that Singaporean cops don't have the same reputation for dragging Americans off planes.
That was no accident. A panel of aviation experts have suggested that Malaysian Airlines flight MH370 was deliberately flown off course and crashed. The experts put together by 60 Minutes Australia believe the captain masterminded the plane's disappearance in what is possibly an intricately planned mass murder-suicide. According to Boeing 777 pilot and instructor Simon Hardy, the aircraft flew along the Thai-Malaysian border, crisscrossing into both countries' airspace to avoid detection. Captain Zahari Ahmed Shah dipped the plane's wings left over his hometown of Penang, leading Hardy to suspect he looked out over the window in an emotional goodbye. The plane then turned northwest before dropping off the range of military radar. Crash investigator Larry Vance believes the captain depressurized the cabin at some point to disable passengers, which could explain the lack of any text or emergency calls. Old satellite data had picked up faint signals from the plane's engines, showing it could have flown either north toward Kazakhstan or south to the Indian Ocean. Calculations indicated the latter. In searching for the missing plane, the Australian Transport and Safety Bureau worked under the assumption that it crashed into the ocean following an uncontrolled dive. Hardy believes the pilot was controlling the aircraft until the end. He would have easily pulled out of the death dive and flown longer before impact, which would put the crash site outside the current search area. While the experts present some compelling theories, the fact remains that 4 years on, the plane has yet to be found. Without solid evidence from the wreckage, there's no way to definitively unravel the mysteries surrounding MH370.
Two passenger jets in close call at Chicago Airport. Two passenger jets narrowly avoided a collision on Tuesday evening after they attempted to take off at the same time on intersecting runways at Chicago's Midway International Airport. A Southwest Airlines flight heading to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and a Delta Airlines flight heading to Atlanta nearly collided at Chicago's Midway International Airport on Tuesday. Southwest Airlines Flight 2838 was cleared for takeoff on runway 31 Center just before 7:40 p.m. As the plane began to speed down the runway, Delta Airlines Flight 1328 began its takeoff on runway 4 right without clearance. Airport controllers spotted the trouble and ordered the Delta plane to stop immediately. The Southwest plane also chose to abort its takeoff. The aircraft stopped more than 2,000 feet from the runway intersection. The FAA is investigating whether the similar flight numbers of the planes may have contributed to the close call.
Now, that's what you call silent but deadly. All passengers on an American Airlines flight were evacuated on Sunday afternoon after someone farted so hard it made people sick. An unknown passenger reportedly dropped a stink bomb so bad that it warranted an actual deplaning. The cheese cutting apparently made passengers on the plane feel nauseated and overcome with headaches. The plane quickly landed at Raleigh-Durham International Airport in North Carolina, and passengers were released from the aircraft. Luckily, no casualties were reported from the windy incident. One big question, though. What in the world did that stinker eat? Okay, now chuckles aside, farts, flatus, or flatulence can actually make you sick. Backdoor breezes are comprised of minor sulfur gas components, including hydrogen sulfide. And depending on the amount, it can cause headaches, nausea, skin, and or eye irritation. So keep it in your pants or go to the bathroom or something. Man. Plane crashes into truck at LAX. An Aeromexico flight collided with a utility truck on a taxiway at Los Angeles International Airport on Saturday, injuring 8 employees. Aeromexico Flight 642 departed from Mexico City with 149 people aboard. It arrived at Los Angeles International Airport at around 2:30 p.m. on Saturday. The plane was taxiing toward a boarding gate when it crossed a service road. The right wing of the plane collided with the rear top of a supply truck, causing it to overturn. The collision did not cause a fire. The plane was still able to taxi to its gate after the accident. Phew, that was close. A small private jet miraculously survived after it was flipped over and plunged 10,000 feet. The cause? Getting caught in turbulence from a passing super jumbo jet. At around 8:40 a.m. on January 7th, the Bombardier Challenger 604, with 9 passengers on board, was flying over the Arabian Sea, headed from the Maldives to Abu Dhabi. That's when it encountered an Emirates Airbus A380 en route from Dubai to Sydney. As the private jet flew underneath the double-decker Airbus, it was hit by the much larger plane's wake turbulence. The turbulence flipped the small jet over 5 times, subjecting those inside to strong G-forces and injuring several. The crew used raw muscle force to manually stabilize the jet, restart the engines, and divert the flight to Oman for an emergency landing. Several passengers were taken to hospital, one with serious injuries. The private jet, operated by German carrier MH370 Aviation, suffered such extensive damage that it had to be written off. Germany's Federal Bureau of Aircraft Accident Investigation is leading a probe into the incident.